look out the door like this, folks, you know that it's just looking at tracks from the night before. There's some very faint hyena tracks along here. They're too faint for me to take a photograph of, but what I'll do is the other ones up the other side there, when we came in this morning, were really in lovely wet sand, so they hopefully will still be there when we come back. It's a nice little zebra. Goodness, the zebra mares are all in foal and they're all ready to drop. Trying to find you a nice track of a oh, that's quite a nice one just there. Very nice track of a hyena. Just have to get out to take this photograph because there's a lovely bit of sunshine on it. Now, when you get that oblique light in the morning, really nice time to go tracking. This time of the morning. You get the oblique light coming through from the sun at a very low angle, which puts a little bit of shadow into the track. And I'll just take a photograph of this on my phone for you and bring it up to the camera, okay? Just stand by for me. Okay. So, lovely track of a hyena there, and you see the claw marks in, really give it away for us. Sorry, I'll put my finger in front of it there. There you go, mate. See the one, two, three claw marks, and the reason why we could tell it's hyena is because, I'll just pop that down now, those claw marks won't be there in any of the cats. The only cat that you'll have a tiny little impression from a claw mark is a cheetah. Now, there's other different factors in it. It's not perfect, as easy to see on that back pad, but I'll just pull that down now. One of the things that we can see is those claw marks where the cats, the lion and the leopard don't have those claw marks. And the reason being that they have retractable claws, and I think most people might know this, but the lion and leopard are retractable, fully retractable claws, whereas a cheetah has semi-retractable claws. And the modification there is that over a long period of time, the cheetah's claws have adapted to be slightly protruding, and it's the only cat that does that. And the reason being is that at high speed they use those claws like a footballer's studs basically to grip when they're running at high speed turns, and they're basically like a little bit of traction for them, or a lot of traction for them. So when we see the track, if it's a cat, there's a few other distinctive features on the lion and the leopard track which we'll point to when we see those, but we can tell that's a hyena because of those claw marks protruding still, and it's actually more like a dog sort of track than a cat. So there's been hyena around here till last night, which is not surprising. They cover a lot of ground. They're out all night either hunting or looking for a free meal. He's going that way. There's a couple of them actually going that way, and it could be easily the mother and the youngsters that were in that very, very close to that old den site there. I can still see those tracks running all the way down here in the sand. Hyena. So what we're doing at the moment is just called simple tracking. It's like, we're not actually tracking, we're just at the moment just having a bit of a look at tracks. And simple tracking is basically following a trail, picking up a trail, and just running with it. It's sort of basic tracking, and it's really enjoyable things to do. You can do it, you know, probably in whatever place you live, and look at some animals' tracks in some natural areas of where you live. It's always a nice thing, as I say, to do with your kids or a school group or something like that as well. And it doesn't have to be just mammals. Birds have got interesting ones as well. And it's something that just it gets a little bit addictive after a while, because you're always looking down, and it opens up your world, which we talked about the other day. It opens up your world, develops your understanding of the bush. It gives you another layer to the bush, not just a visual layer, but a layer where you have to use your brain and start to come up with a couple of deductions to figure out what happened last night. It's like the bush newspaper, really. When you get down to a waterhole, if you walk around a waterhole, you can really see what's come down, what's been there, what's interacted. And when you get really good at it, and you can hang out with some top trackers like the Shangaan people, the local community that live around this area, incredible trackers, just it's in their soul, it's built in their system. They can actually take you to the next level and tell you what happened, when it happened, and why it happened. But then, from then, when you start to follow that animal, you have to start to be more intuitive and use intuitive tracking, which is, as I've said about many a time, it's a very, very enviable quality for anyone to be able to have. I just take my hat off to these top trackers that can intuitively sort of feel what the animal's going to do. Dam's topped up a little bit. A bit more water in here than there was last night. But no hippo. But still a lovely spot just to sit for a little bit. As I always say, folks, it's great just to stop and take your time and just have a little look around, rather than just driving up to a waterhole and then seeing that you can't see anything obvious and just driving off. Really good just to spend a minute or two having a look around. Yeah. Okay. Now we're listening to the radio as well, listening to see if there's any sightings on Juma or Arathusa this morning. Many a time we hear on the radio that overlaps into other reserves. You know, there might be line or leopard, and it could have been a line that were on our reserves a few days back, and they've moved over somewhere else, and then they come back onto Juma and Arathusa. So it's just sort of, it's a movable feast, so to speak. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Control, do you copy? No. Pulled out, that's why. Okay, apologies. Okay guys, what we're going to do is carry on down this road. If we see anything really interesting, we'll come back to you. But we're going to make our way across to Arathusa. We'll take our time going across there, and we're going to cross to Scott. I think he's got some fantastic hippos, so we'll see you just now. Okay.
Just stopped here at Vuyatela Dam. I heard a few brief alarm calls from the... It wasn't very intense, but they were agitated by something, and it was in this area. So I just thought we could wait here for a while, see if we hear any more alarm calls. If not, we'll move on in a couple of minutes, but I think it is definitely worth our while to spend some time here. So down to our right, below the dam wall, is where the alarm calls came from. And as you can see in there, it's very thick. So a leopard or a lion or any predator really could easily disappear within this thick vegetation. It could just as easily pop out and walk up to the dam and have a drink. Dams are a lot less productive though at this time of the year in terms of a reliable source to find game, due to all of the puddles and small wallows that are filled up by all the rain we're getting at the moment. Animals typically don't have to go too far to get water. But that's not to say that one isn't nearby to the dam. You can hear Cape Turtle Dove calling in the background. I'm sure it'll start up again. Another very prominent call of Africa. The mornings are always beautiful with the cacophony of bird calls that you can hear here. And then back in the dam, there are a few hippos. They're essentially doing the opposite of what we're doing. They've ended their day, so to speak, being predominantly nocturnal feeders. They would have been out last night grazing on grass and come back in the early hours of the morning. Whereas we were sleeping all night and got up early to come out looking for them and other mammals in the area, and birds and reptiles. So questions just come in from Sharon from Dallas, Texas, and she asked me if I am a snake lover, and the answer to that is a definite yes. Certain snakes do need to be, for me, at least I speak for myself, do need to be avoided or given their space, as you do get some highly venomous snakes in this area, the black mamba, the boom slung, just to name a couple, the puff adder. But some of the less venomous snakes, or non-venomous, like the African rock python, which is Sharon's favorite snake and also mine, being a constrictor, your chance of being injured or hurt by one is obviously drastically lowered. If a python bites you, yes, it will be painful because unlike most snakes, they've got rows of teeth, almost like that of a shark. And not only are there many of them, they recurved. So